started. Thank you. Thanks for joining today. We're super excited to talk about all things data. I think they used to say cash is king, and now I think they're saying that data is king. So whoever has the most data is generally to win, and whoever actually interprets that data and interacts with it and understands it in this competitive environment on Amazon is gonna fare far better. So today we're discussing a really fun topic, and yeah, we're about to get started. We're just getting this chat room loaded. So thank you for joining. It's a big webinar today. So thanks everyone for taking some time out of your day to join. And this is all about preparing for the fourth quarter. So we're already talking about the fourth quarter. Once Prime Day is over, we're now talking about preparing for the fourth quarter, because it's actually a lot of that preparation. It's all about the prep. It's the last minute stuff that you do at the end of the day for the fourth quarter really doesn't matter, in my opinion. It's debatable though. So yeah, let's get it started. So before we introduce our amazing guests and co-hosts, we want to just get people interacting in the chat box. So our warm-up question of the day is, what did you have for breakfast? And I guess I'll start with Mia. Mia, if you don't mind sharing.
Yep. So this morning, I had waffles for breakfast. So it was
Nice.
actually quite delicious.
Any syrup or just plain or butter? Or...
Oh, tons of syrup. The more the better.
Nice.
So.
Breakfast of champions.
Awesome.
Yep.
And Colleen?
I had yogurt parfait, vanilla yogurt with my favorite granola that is from the Bunnery in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. We went there on vacation last year, and I've just continued to order the oatmeal from there, the granola from there. It's awesome. So
that's awesome.
Had a few blueberries in there. It was delicious.
Ooh, that sounds really good and healthy. I'm actually dialing in from Italy. It's very hard to not eat bread. So I had some sourdough bread for breakfast with 3 eggs in an omelet, and I had some of this local cheese that I bought at a fresh cheese shop, and it was delicious. And I can feel myself putting on all the weight from Italy as I talk about it. So without further ado, let's dive into the presentation. We're just going to do an intro, and we'll save myself for last. So you're going to meet our co-host. We are Colleen. Colleen, if you don't mind sharing your background and what you're up to over there at eComEngine.
Yeah, so I've been in the e-commerce industry for about 15 years, but specifically at eComEngine now for 10 years. I'm the director of marketing here, and we're based in Richmond, Virginia. That's where I am located today as well. And we have 3 different tools, Feedback 5, which helps with feedback and reviews, Restock Pro, which helps with FBA inventory management, and our newest tool that we've really been working on is a data insights tool called Seller Pulse. So that's really exciting, especially with Q4 around the corner. We know, as you said, data is king, so we're excited to provide some insights for sellers and help them to be more successful on Amazon.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for joining us today. And next up, we got Mia.
So my name is Mia Rowe. I'm a commerce media strategist at Tinuiti. So my role, I'm responsible for driving growth and innovation for our clients on Amazon with their set goals and KPIs. So I've been in this industry working in marketing for over 10 years, specifically on Amazon for the past 7. So I have a passion for just understanding data and analytics and using that to help drive strategies and get results for my clients. Currently, I'm working with 2 of our largest enterprise clients, and it's been super fun.
Awesome. Thanks for joining. You're an OG in the space. And just last up is myself. My name is Chad. I'm also an OG. I've been doing this for almost 20 years. I started off with an e-commerce business. Then I started a software company called Stubana, co-founded the Prosper Show. Those have been acquired, and then started Prophecy, which is a pricing platform that is just like Uber style surge pricing, but for Amazon brands, so only for Amazon private label brands. We work with a lot of different private label brands on Amazon, changing price all the time so that our customers can actually make a whole lot more money. And our incentives are aligned where we just take a flat fee and our customers keep the upside entirely for themselves, and they make at least 10% more using Prophecy. Cool. So let's get started. So today's gonna be more dialogue, more discussion. One of the reasons why I wanted to make sure that people are dropping what they ate for breakfast into the chat. Colleen, you say you can't see my screen?
Yeah, I can't see. Are you sharing yet?
Oh,
I'm not seeing it.
that was funky. Okay, let me try again. Is this sharing now?
There we go. Yep, we're good.
Okay, well, so then I was just sharing all these beautiful bios with people nobody's able to see, so thanks for letting me know. Okay, so so today we want this to be a dialogue. So like if you see something, say something, or if you want to say something that you want to chime in on or you want more information on, we want this to really be interactive in the chat. So if everyone can just look out in that chat box and see if I missed anything, we want to make sure that we're answering everybody's questions, and we want to drop as much value as we possibly can in the time that we have. So today's gonna be interactive, like I mentioned, and we're going to start really with this broad category of Prime Day data, meaning what did we see and what were some takeaways? And so we're going to start with Colleen here. How review data from Prime Day can impact your fourth quarter?
Yeah, so most sellers obviously see an increase in order volume thanks to Prime Day. But following that, we often see a pretty big increase in orders, or I'm sorry, in reviews and feedback because you have an increase in order volume. So sounds pretty obvious. But our data shows that some sellers are seeing as much as 32% increase in reviews in that week right after Prime Day. So since you have 30 days to request reviews, now is the time to request reviews on those Prime Day sales, so you can position yourself for success in Q4. It's not just about quality of reviews and quantity of reviews, but also recent reviews are really strong social proof for shoppers to show that you're still relevant in the market, especially compared to your competitors. If you have a lot of more recent reviews compared to them, then you will appear more relevant. And 73% of consumers say that they only read reviews that are posted in the last month. So the reviews that you get from Prime Day and over the next month or so will really help to impact your fourth quarter sales. And obviously we anticipate probably a big deal days or another Prime Day in October. You've got Black Friday, Cyber Monday, a lot of big holidays and shopping days coming up. So take time to read your reviews so you can understand any changes that you need to make to your packaging, to your product listings, or even to the product itself, because these reviews can really help guide your strategy going forward. The reviews might impact your purchase orders and restocking decisions if you're starting to see a spike in positive reviews, which, that's what everybody dreams of. But if you start to see it trending upward or a few negative reviews even, then that could really slow down your sales, and you might not want to overstock or risk overstocking and invest in more inventory till you can get some things fixed and worked out. So proactive reputation management is important all year round, but even more so with all of the peak holiday shopping days coming up in fourth quarter. So.
And Colleen, I have a question for you that I've been itching to ask, which is the 30% increase in reviews, is that with eComEngine, or is that just naturally and organically that you're getting 30% more reviews?
So that's just from the data that we've asked from our customers. So Feedback 5 is our tool. So we've reached out and to our customers, and we've taken a subset of customers to actually see what happens before and after Prime Day. And from that data, we're seeing awesome. As much as 32% increase.
Got it. And then one last question on this about reviews is how can you ask for reviews in a respectful way? I feel like the policies are always changing. So like how does it work?
Yeah, making sure you're asking for trustworthy reviews or asking in the right way is really important. You don't want to get your account suspended or put yourself at risk. So always making sure that you're either using the request a review button found in Seller Central, or using a tool like Feedback 5 or another one that will actually automate that request a review button. Or if you're choosing to create your own message, then make sure that it is not asking anything that would be somewhat manipulative. You need to be very neutral in the manner that you ask for a review. You can't ask for a positive review. You can't ask for a review in exchange for some promotion. So you just need to be very, very neutral when you request for those reviews.
Got it. Thank you. If anybody's got questions on reviews, just drop them in the chat. Okay, so this next one is for Mia here. What are the key differences and similarities between Prime Day and Q4 advertising? What are you seeing?
So what I'm seeing, Amazon has done an amazing job at just creating buzz and generating enormous traffic volume specifically around Prime Day. I mean, that's something that is specific to the Amazon platform. Other platforms, while they run, deal days and different events, the traffic generated just doesn't compare. Amazon is practically forcing vendors and sellers to participate at risk of losing sales to competitors that are significantly discounting products. And so the expectations of Prime Day, of the Q4, Black Friday, Cyber Monday events, they're very well known events, and they both drive consumers to Amazon looking to save money. So whether shoppers are looking to restock on everyday items or purchase gifts, or whether it's something that they've been eyeing for a long time and they want to take advantage of the deals, both events really drive customers that are looking for those those badges that say discount and that let them know that they are saving money. And so I definitely would call that out as a focus strategy. Is the consumers during these events, they want to know that they're saving, and they want to know that these deals kind of still have meaning. So the key difference that I would say, Prime Day, of course, is just a 2-day event. And it's pretty clear the majority of purchases happen during those 2 days. So we do have our lead in and lead out periods that we have to accommodate for, but we do see a lot of basket building, a lot of clicking right before Prime Day. Then when it comes, all of the sales start flooding in, all the conversions happen. And then afterwards, we kind of see that steep decline. And if you don't shop during those 2 days, there's almost this FOMO that you missed out on a deal. While we do still continue to get purchases afterwards, we do see that decline, where Black Friday, Cyber Monday, because it has been this T5 event, and now I think last year Amazon branded it as T11, and there are so many deal days, it's less predictable than Prime Day. So you see some people might purchase right away. Some people might wait to purchase to see if there's a better deal. And then really Q4 is just such a big gift giving holiday. Anyways, you kind of have to get those gifts. So even if you miss, the Black Friday, Cyber Monday, you still have this period before Christmas or the next holiday that you still see customers buying gifts and making purchases because they need these items to ship in time. So Q4 can be a lot more unpredictable, and you have to strategize and budget for just that time discrepancy of, Prime Day, it's all about those 2 days, where Q4, you have a bit of a longer period.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
I would
And
echo something about Q4. A lot of more people are buying gifts, but Prime Day, I do think a lot more people are buying for themselves, like things they've had an eye on, and so reviews as well. We tend to see a much higher spike after Prime Day than after Q4, because somebody in October that buys a gift for somebody for Christmas, they might not want to leave a review till after the holidays, and you can't request reviews more than 30 days out. But many things that you're buying are in September and October, and you're giving the gifts to somebody else, so you're not usually the one to leave the review. But Prime Day, when people buy stuff for themselves, they feel like they get a good deal. They're more likely to leave that review.
yeah, no, I think that's interesting. I'm thinking about my Prime Day purchasing. So I had built a whole cart waiting to see if anything went on sale. So technically, for me, as a buyer, it just pulled those products forward, my purchase of those products forward. So it pulled those purchases forward. And by the way, those that I got a deal on, amazing. And those that I didn't get a deal on, I actually ended up buying anyway. I don't know if you did the same thing or you maybe held off, but like that was my approach to Prime Day.
I think that's where you really have to know the category that you're in. So I have done the exact same thing. I did it this year. And there were some lower ASP items, whether they were, toys for the kids or, things that I just needed anyways, that yet I still bought. But then there were other things, maybe if you were looking for a TV or something and you didn't get the discount that you thought you were going to get, then you might wait on that purchase. I know when we purchased ours, I knew the deal that was coming, and I said, nope, I'm going to put this in my cart. I'm going to wait. And we waited and then purchased it, knowing that we were going to save a significant amount of money. If I wouldn't have saved that much, I might have gone with, a different model or a different size. So I think just knowing that about your ASP values, about your category, is really critical.
Yeah. And one more thing on that is that in terms of ASPs, I would let's just say I bought an office chair for my work from home setup. So I was trying to optimize my work from home setup. I bought this amazing look-alike of a Herman Miller chair that's quite popular. And I was like, okay, like, is this really a deal or not? So I have a Keepa as a Chrome app installed on anytime I'm on Amazon. And I was just like looking at the price fluctuations. And I just made sure that I was buying at like the lowest low in the past year. That was my approach.
I love Keepa. I have that on my Chrome as well, and it's a great resource.
It's cool. One other thing on Prime Day that I saw, I just want to ask on the ad side, I know this is your forte and your specialty. Some clients of ours said, you know what, we're not going to actually advertise as much. We're going to lower spending because we're already getting organic traffic. Did you see a lot of that during Prime Day, or were you guys ramping up spend to capture more of those sessions? Like, what was your strategy for clients?
Yep. So I get into this a little bit later, but as far as strategy goes, I mean, you really have to know your business and what your goals are. And it really just depends what you're trying to achieve. Now, the motto of I'm not going to spend any money because people are going to purchase organically, I don't believe in, because let's face it, I've been a victim of I think I'm purchasing a brand and instead I clicked on an ad, or you think you're getting one thing and you go for something that has a better deal, or it's something that you didn't intend on. And that's kind of the pro and con with ads, is that if you're not bidding on your branded terms, other people can, and other businesses can steal that traffic away from you. So I feel like it's kind of a matter of what's your ultimate business objective. If it's just to remain afloat, I always say a high tide raises all ships. So even customers that don't have large budgets, or clients I've worked with, they might not have a lot to spend, but they do see an increase. They might not have any sales or any promotions. They still see a traffic increase and an increase in sales and conversions during that time period, because there's just simply more people on Amazon, which makes your funnel wider. So if your goal is to stay afloat, I have seen customers that say, we don't want to increase spend. We don't want to do anything because we're not participating. And, they kind of get those mediocre results, where if you really want to, to use the analogy, ride that wave and really hit the high tide, then we increase spend, we save up, we allocate, and we get really strategic and granular about what customers are going to see when they're looking through the search, the server page, and different things. So
Got it. Cool. And I think this question was for me. So for me, Prime Day, by the way, was a lot about making more money. I think it used to be growth at all costs, and on Amazon specifically right now, it's profit at the lowest cost possible. And so profit is the heartbeat of the company. It's how I run my business, my e-commerce business. I have that e-commerce business on top of Prophecy, the pricing software. And so one of the things that I noticed when I was turning around my e-commerce business was that Amazon's marketplace is very inefficient, right? Buyers are making choices and picking products in an inefficient manner. And so then I started asking a question, well, why is pricing static? Pricing should be dynamic. And so the idea is that you want to align the customer's willingness to pay with the value that it's offered on the platform. So interesting point would be like Uber. Uber changes price. Let's just say if it's raining in your area, and maybe there's a little less cabs available based on supply and demand, you'll see that prices started to surge because there's supply-demand challenges that are uneven. And so that same thing we essentially have been applying to pricing. And so pricing at a specific time of the day or a specific time period. So for example, if there's more traffic coming to Amazon, so you have more demand, right? You have more pricing power to play with that demand. And so this was just an interesting example. One case study, this is actually a guy named Michael Jackness. He's also an OG in the space. He ran a company called Tehran. He also runs Ecom Crew. And so he came to us right before a sale of his company, and we started repricing. And you can see pricing at the bottom, and then you can see profit at the top. And so the idea with this one specifically was, okay, we started decreasing price in the off season and created sharp decreases of price. Now, sometimes a decrease in price can mean you're selling more unit velocity, which means you're offsetting that lower price with the sheer volume that you're selling. and making more profit, absolute profit dollars on what you're selling. And so we essentially were, in this case, lowering prices dynamically for them, very similar to Uber, and yielding a big spread, if you look at the red and the blue line, on profitability. So we were able to not only increase his profit before his sale, but also the enterprise value of his sale, because of course, people are looking at EBITDA, which is your earnings before interest, tax, and depreciation, and then apply a multiplier on top of that. So this is just a great example of essentially matching the willingness of someone, of a customer, of a shopper, where they're willing to pay for something with the value that you're offering on the marketplace. Cool. So transitioning into the next section, smart budgeting and advertising for the fourth quarter. We'll jump off here with Mia. And the first question here is, what are the fundamentals for developing a solid Q4 ad strategy?
So the most important part, in my opinion, of developing a solid Q4 ad strategy is really the expectations, making sure that you set expectations that are realistic and that you are not going to, that you're not setting yourself up for failure or for disappointment. So when it comes to Q4, we obviously know it's a huge shopping period. You want to see a lot of growth, you want to see a lot of sales, but the worst thing that I have seen working with clients is they have this expectation that they're going to double their sales and they're going to grow 50% year over year. But in the marketplace, we can clearly see a trend of increasing CPCs, declining category sales, maybe just due to inflation and cost of goods. And they just said, you also have half of the marketing budget to work with. And so we know that's going to be, less impressions and just less visibility. So by no means am I saying that you should, set a really low bar so that you're able to, clear it easily. But what I mean by this is, know what the market's doing, know where your CPCs are, know what you've done in the past if you have that historic data available, and then set a realistic expectation of, okay, this is where I was last year. This is how much I want to grow. Maybe it's a, 15, 20% growth, and then make sure that you have the marketing dollars and budget to achieve that and to sustain it throughout Q4. Again, Prime Day is really just those 2 days that you're focused on, but Q4, it's a longer period, and so you want to make sure in any solid strategy that you're setting for advertising that you don't deplete your budgets too early, and that you actually do deplete them and you don't, leave the money in the bank and not spend the allocations that you have. So I think that's just being realistic and using data to set those standards is, I think, a pretty big part of having just a solid Q4 strategy. I would say another just fundamental is utilizing different ad types, utilizing different tactics, not relying on a single, sponsored product campaign or maybe an auto or broad match term, but making sure that you have a diverse portfolio and that your campaigns, I always like to tell my clients, we're getting granular, we're digging in the weeds, we're pulling everything up, we get into the details because it's just really important to utilize, sponsored products and sponsored display ads, sponsored brand ads. They all drive different results. And with that, you want to utilize all of them. All ads are not created equally. So yeah, you might see a much stronger ROAS in return on sponsored products. But sponsored display ads are going to be really great for launching new products or for, getting in more impressions and more detailed page views, and different things like that. So I definitely would say, try and diversify your strategy as much as possible. And don't just that, okay, we're going to spend X amount of dollars and I expect to get, X amount in return, but really get granular with your strategy, set it, whether you do it by product type, maybe by category. So I had one client that was in the sports category, and we actually set individual budgets because we knew lacrosse equipment was going to bring in a different revenue than, baseball equipment. And we knew the profits were going to be different. We set different strategies. We had obviously different keywords and campaigns, but like getting really granular and just making sure that you set goals according to each is really important. I like to say there's a one size fits all approach really doesn't fit anyone. Like it's really about, doing what's best for your business and setting those goals as granular as you can so that you can just reach the optimal outcome.
Awesome. And
So I know that was a lot.
Yeah, well, there's two questions that came in. So Richard
Yep.
Anderson is capitalizing on this. And I did say that ask your questions. We're going to field those questions. And so Richard has two questions for you. Double header. So the first one was, how efficient is advertising on social media versus advertising using Seller Central, sponsored product campaign, sponsored display campaign, and sponsored brand campaign?
Yep. So how efficient? That's a tough question because is efficiency the goal? So again, like if your goal is to get a really strong return, it's not going to be very efficient at all. You're not going to drive like a really good ROAS or ACoS, when you're running social media ads. But if your goal is just to increase brand awareness and presence of your products on Amazon, it's going to be a really beneficial tool because I've seen things go viral on social media and that significantly affects my ad campaigns. So I actually am Tinuiti is a full service advertising agency. And so I work really closely with our cross-channel teams. And when they have a viral moment on TikTok, one of my previous clients was NutriBullet and their baby steam and blend went viral around moms. And people were flooding to Amazon to buy that product. So I had to make sure we had increased budgets and that we were top of search because we did not want people seeing that the competitors were 50% cheaper or had a sale. We had to make sure that we owned that space. So they kind of work hand in hand. Again, if efficiency is the main goal, you're going to see a better return using sponsored products. But, if you want to drive that awareness and that engagement, social media is just a really great tool.
And then second question here, where can I find help to make a video I can use with a sponsored display and brand campaign?
So Tinuiti, again, we're a full service agency. Definitely contact us if that is something you need help with. I know actually Amazon also has an in-platform guide that will do video ads for you. It's actually pretty simple to use and it gets pretty decent results. So I would definitely say as a first step, play around with that. It will use the still images already on your PDP page to turn that into a video with overlaying text. And then, Colleen, Chad, I don't know if you guys have anything to recommend, but I would say, anyone that you can find just to shoot a video and to make something specific for Amazon is going to be key. So that is one thing. I would not try to use the same video on social media as you're using on Amazon because they're not the same platform. So social media is all about engagement. You're talking to people, you're engaging with them, where Amazon, it is a store. You want it to be more advertising focused. You want to highlight features. So your video shouldn't necessarily say, oh, look at me as I'm using this product. It needs to say, here's why this product's unique and special, and here's why you should purchase it.
Yeah, one of the things I do for my listings is I always ask a question, which is why? Why does this matter? So I might say, so let's just say I'm selling an air purifier filter. I might say, hey, this filter helps clean your air. So, or it has odor protection in it, or it has carbon filter protection or something like that, which is really for odor. So why does someone care about carbon filter? No one cares about carbon, they care about odor. So, or I want to keep my house clean. So I constantly am trying to drill down into why and get to the center of the Tootsie Roll Pop, really, as to why are people making the decision to buy my filter over someone else's filter? That's just a marketing tactic that I've been trying to use over the years that I've seen great results with.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not just about the features, it's the benefit that it brings to them or the lifestyle that it puts them in, or how it makes them feel when they purchase it. Yeah. The solution that your product provides, not just the features.
Yep, I think that's a great point. And we actually tested that earlier this year. We took a client had a really successful social media video that did, it was highlighting the features of, it was a simple wipe, but it was just highlighting, you know, how you can use this wipe for everything. It wasn't just for a baby's bottom. You can wipe plants, you can wipe your dog's paws, you can wipe your countertops, you know, anything. And it was really well received on social media. On Amazon, it did not get good results, and we quickly turned it off because you literally just saw somebody wiping paws, but it wasn't clear what the product was selling and why this wipe is better than any other wipe. The videos that actually highlighted, you know, this is biodegradable, that this is, you know, organic, and it's, you know, free of sulfates, and it's pure, it's, you know, all these different features, those videos did a lot better. Because again, you have to remember, Amazon is a store. People are looking to give you their money and to buy your product, and you just have to tell them why. So that's a really great point, Chad.
Totally. So I think the last one here was for me. As I mentioned, I've done a lot so my business, my e-com business has really been compressed over time. We sell commodity filters, like I mentioned earlier. And so you can imagine all these other people are trying to sell these filters too online. And well, we made a strategic decision to start transitioning away from traditional metrics of like an ACoS or ROAS to something that we call POAS. And I'm just going to share that. So I think it's maybe a new term for many of those that are listening. But really, POAS for us was our way of like isolating contribution profit from ad sales. So whereas like revenue divided by ad spend, which is ROAS, or the inverse of that is ACoS, is based on a revenue number, I want it to be everything based on a profit number. And by doing that, it essentially allowed me to really focus on, first of all, the thing that matters and making sure that we're producing dollars from the ad spend that we're spending online. It allowed us to actually make better, more informed data decisions, because some products maybe we were okay having a POAS of less than 1, which means that I'm losing money every time I sell something, because maybe I was trying to increase my velocity on the product and increase my ranking position and discoverability on Amazon. So just something to really keep in mind here, that I think that we're in this, everyone's kind of been focusing on these ROAS or revenue embedded metrics that don't capture all the costs of delivering the product to the customer, whether that's a COGS or whether that's like your fulfillment fees on Amazon, or any other fees that Amazon's taking. As you know, there's a lot of fees that Amazon takes. And so to me, it was guiding us in the wrong direction around where we were deploying our ad spend. And so we moved to more of a holistic, full picture view that accounts for all the costs, every dollar of opportunity for profitability in the business. Just wanted to share that nugget. I thought it was a good one, as people are looking to increase the efficiency of their business. I don't know, Mia, I know you're an ad whiz. I don't know if you've seen this yet in your work.
So I have not been able to really dive into it as much, because again, you're dealing with, you know, those gross profits, and you're dealing with the raw business. I try to, again, I'm kind of in the weeds, but I think that it is a great philosophy, and I do 100% agree. You know, like ROAS is not always the best KPI. You know, it's not just because you can maintain a set ROAS across the board. That's not the only thing that you should be looking at. So definitely a great point. And Chad, I actually had a question for you. Is there ever a time that you would recommend, you know, operating at that negative POAS, or, you know, a loss? Do you ever see any benefits that come from that?
Yeah, so just for those listening that are new to this, so a POAS of 1 means you're break even. A POAS of, say, 2.3 means that you're generating $2.3 in cash. So for every dollar you spend, you're making 1.3, which gets you to the 2.3. And then anything under 1 means you're losing money. So a couple of things. One is some people are okay taking it on the chin with PPC to lose money because maybe it's a new product launch, maybe it's a subscribe and save offer, and they have a higher lifetime value on that specific purchase. Like, so if they get repeat purchases and they don't have to spend ad dollars on that, they'll recoup their investment dollars back on the second or the third purchase. So I think for me, for my own business, for filters on Amazon, replacement parts for the home, I really wanted to get in touch with like, okay, the cost of delivering the product, the COGS, the shipping fees, any other costs. I wanted to really understand how we're going to deploy dollars that are extremely beneficial to the company to maximize our profitability and link it to the actual growth and the enterprise value of the business itself. And it's hard to do, by the way. It's very, very hard to get to this kind of granular level on the POAS side of things, but it's a worthwhile decision. If anybody has questions on it, I don't want to spend too much time on the POAS stuff, but you can feel free to email me at chat@prophecy, and I'm happy to give you a private session on how I look at POAS. Cool. Let's hop into the next piece here. We've got Mia on deck. How can AMC data enhance Q4 performance?
So for those that don't know what AMC is, it's the Amazon Marketing Cloud. So it's a platform that gives us access to Amazon data that's not available anywhere else. So while others may say they have this data, you can kind of pull it together from your 1P or 3P sellers. You can pull in-store data. The Amazon Marketing Cloud, it already exists there. They're doing all of this, and you have access to pull in your even in-store sales from different marketplaces into Amazon to give us like these really granular journeys and patterns. So this data allows us really to identify trends, targets, retargeting audiences. It allows us to do all this while measuring and discovering insights that really guide our marketing strategy. So I feel like it's specifically helpful in Q4. One, just by giving you a path to purchase that you can capitalize on. So understanding, the best path, the easiest path for your customer to go from, knowledge of your product and awareness of its existence to purchase, understanding how to guide them down that. The Amazon Marketing Cloud can give you those insights on and off Amazon, again, because it's pulling in display information, because it's pulling in other information from, retail sales, in-store sales. It's going to give you that full path, allowing you to allocate and shift funds accordingly. It also allows you to build out custom audiences that will really help you meet your goals. So at Tinuiti, we have played with this a lot and have actually been able to build out some really awesome audience interactions that have been extremely successful. Some of the ones I really like to use is we can actually look at customers that are more likely to purchase on a tentpole event or when there's a sale versus the customers that are going to purchase, anytime when your products are full price. And we can identify those customers on Amazon and then retarget them with DSP ads, which run off Amazon, to say, hey, we have a sale going on, we have this promotion, or we have this deal, knowing that they're more likely to purchase during tentpole events. We also can build audiences based off of search performance and search ad interaction. So we can say, okay, somebody that has been served a search ad that maybe clicked on it and didn't actually make the purchase, you can again retarget them with display, which is going to help push them from just considering your product over to conversion. I don't know if anyone else has experienced where you're kind of like, oh wait, why is this ad following me around the internet? Like, it's everywhere. This is what you can use AMC Cloud to help you do, and you can literally have your product follow customers around so that they go, okay, I'm going to purchase this. Like, I see this ad everywhere. It must be really popular. I'm going to go ahead and go from considering it and make the conversion and purchase it. And to Chad's point earlier, you can go beyond ROAS. So this is where you can really see the lifetime value of your customers. Are you going to make that money back on a second or third acquisition cost? Are you going to spend a little extra on acquisition and then you'll make it back? So you can really build out a long-term Q4 strategy. And maybe, Q4 is just where you acquire the customer because they're looking for gifts or deals and sales, and then they end up purchasing, a product, and then they come back again and again, or they do a subscribe and save, and those dollars are worth it. So AMC can be really helpful in that.
There's a question here. pardon my pronunciation here, but Mohammed Maushuk was asking me, how can we access AMC data?
So I guess like a little more information. So you would have to go through Amazon. Again, they basically provide this data. I know at Tinuiti we have a hub that kind of centrally gives us access to everything that's downloaded. I guess it's through their Vendor Central or Seller Central platform. So it's hard to say.
Okay.
I would have to, reach out to someone that's a little more technical. And I can definitely get you that, Mohammed. If you want to contact Tinuiti, then we can definitely help with how to get access to it. But again, just through their platform or reaching out to your AE, they can definitely make sure that you have that. But it is good to know that the data exists even. So
Cool. All right, moving into profit analytics as a category. We're going to start off here with Colleen. So critical metrics to avoid additional FBA fees. I know everyone wants less of those Amazon fees and more profit in their pockets. So please do share.
Yeah, fees is a 4-letter word in the Amazon world, especially these days. But yeah, so there's many critical metrics that you should monitor to try to reduce fees and maximize profit. Managing inventory effectively is just so important to avoid any unnecessary or additional FBA fees and paying attention to metrics regularly. So 2 fees I want to mention, especially to keep an eye on here going into Q4, is a newer fee that was rolled out earlier this year, the low inventory level fee. So Amazon introduced this fee and it applies to standard size products with consistently low inventory relative to customer demand. And this fee is applicable if your product's historical days of supply is below 28 days. Amazon looks at both your long-term historical days of supply, which is your last 90 days, and your short-term historical days of supply, which is the last 30 days. And if both of those are below 28 days, then you will be charged the low inventory level fee. Now, this metric is calculated at the parent product level, not the child level. And it doesn't apply in a few situations. One in particular is if you're replenishing with AWD. But another metric related to this is the minimum inventory level metric. So this is the one you really want to keep a close eye on to help avoid the fee. But it does present some challenges for sellers who have seasonal items. And so just make sure that you're really paying attention to the details. Sometimes it might make more sense to, instead of fulfilling by FBA, maybe you should fulfill orders through Amazon SFP or by merchant to avoid this fee. If you're starting to realize that your product is not meeting the demands of the 28-day historical supply. So just keep a close eye on that low inventory level fee. You can access some of that data in Seller Central. It can be kind of clunky to access it. So if you need help, let me know and I'm happy to help show you where to go and give you some resources for that. And then the aged inventory surcharge, this used to be called the long-term storage fee. This is when a unit has been at FBA for more than 180 days. And it will continue to increase once the unit hits different milestones going forward if it remains at FBA. So it can get really costly. But this does not apply to a few different categories like clothing, shoes, jewelry. So your category might not apply, but for most categories it does apply. And to avoid or at least reduce your aged inventory surcharges, then make sure to schedule time each month to do some cleanup. The surcharges are assessed monthly, and the cleanup dates are on the 15th of the month. And so when I say like do some cleanup, what you want to do is look for SKUs that might need to be removed from FBA. And if your promotions aren't moving the units fast enough, then consider doing removal orders and prioritize those by your biggest profit leaks first. This can help avoid, additional aged inventory surcharges and save you FBA capacity or storage for your better selling products. But the bottom line is Amazon's always charging fees for having too little or too much inventory at FBA. So you have to find that sweet spot, keep an eye on your metrics and strike the right balance. And our Seller Pulse tool is our newest tool that really helps keep an eye on these fees and all of the metrics related to it. And we've saved some sellers quite a bit of money. So it's pretty eye-opening to see how much money that people are paying in fees on a SKU level. So we're happy to help you find some of your profit-killing SKUs, and so you can get rid of those or make decisions on how to sell them differently. And then while we're talking about Q4 also and fees, keep your eye out for a holiday peak fulfillment fee. Nothing has been announced yet, but I know last year, mid-October to mid-January, that was another fee that Amazon charged in fourth quarter. So just be prepared, for any information that comes out about that. I know that was a fee that covered like the extra cost around fulfillment, transportation, and such. But if you don't keep an eye on all these fees, you can really, really, walk away with like negative margins if you're not careful. So
I've heard that story way too often recently.
yes.
And did you cover the IPI?
No, so IPI, this has been around for about 5 or 6 years now. So it's nothing new, but just make sure you keep an eye on your inventory performance index, your IPI score. It's based on 4 different areas of your inventory management. It's excess inventory percentage, stranded inventory percentage, your FBA in stock rate, and FBA sell-through rate. And if this IPI score drops too low, then you risk being subjected to limited storage and more overage fees. So again, that would really eat into your profit margins. So just make sure that you are, keeping a close eye on that metric. Right now, the threshold for IPI is 400. Amazon has changed it a few times over the years, but it's been 400 for a while. And if you're not sure what your IPI score is, you can go into Seller Central to your inventory performance dashboard. And a great thing there is it will actually give you alerts on that dashboard or notification or tips for reducing your storage fees and costs. So take a look. You might find some good ideas there to help improve your IPI score. Some cases, they might recommend that you fix your stranded inventory or reduce excess inventory, which you can do, or mark any non-replenishable SKUs that you don't plan to replenish. Just go ahead and mark them as non-replenishable. Another thing you can do is add A+ content, because that can really help improve your listing visibility. And then in turn, that would help your sell-through rate. So there's some great tips there in your inventory performance dashboard, but definitely take a look at your score and make sure that you're hopefully in that close to that 400 range.
Sweet. And this one is for me here. So one of the things that I noticed as I was revamping my business to get more profitability was when you look at even just the ACoS equation, which is what your ad spend is divided by revenue, most people are focusing on the numerator, which is their ad spend. And they're not focusing on the denominator, which is revenue. And that's really your average selling price times units. And so one of the things I actually want to share with those that are listening in here is this idea around actually the leverage that you can utilize if you're actually harmonizing and uniting price and ad spend together. So this is let's just say this base case is a garlic press. You have like a $25 item and your ACoS is 20%. Yippee, it's at your target. Awesome. You got your landed fee here, your referral fee, and then you see your gross profit and your contribution profit. So you're at a 5x ROAS. Your agency, maybe it's Tinuiti, it's amazing, they're doing a great job. Now, the interesting thing that I noticed though was that if price increases, right, you have more margin to play with, and now you can increase your ACoS quite a bit. So if you now increase ACoS 20%, both price and ACoS specifically, which is you can increase your ad spend here, you'll see what happens, right? Your landed cost stays the same because obviously your shipping, you didn't change the dimensions of your product. Referral fee goes up because, well, Amazon's take rate has increased a bit. It's still at 15%, but they're taking more on the dollar value. Then the FBA fee stays the same. So you're looking at a gross profit of $11.27, which is a 60% increase. And even with your ad spend increasing, you're at a $4 contribution profit, which is 100% more contribution profit dollars. This is by simply just unifying price and advertising together. And so while your ROAS looks worse and your ACoS maybe looks worse because it wasn't at your target, your POAS, your profit on your ad spend, looks a whole lot better, and so does your absolute profit dollars. So that was just one simple chart I wanted to share with people about the power of really unifying price with advertising together when you're making those changes. Cool. We're up to the last section here, data to beat competition. So I guess
So
this is,
Chad,
oh
really
yeah.
quickly, I wanted to make sure that you saw there was a comment in the chat. I don't know if we want to answer that about can we trust Amazon's recommendation for managing quantities?
That might have been for Colleen. Colleen, was that for you?
Yeah, so I mean, whether or not we can trust them to be accurate or not, they're going to go by their own data and to determine to charge you the fee. So if you do see a discrepancy, you might want to reach out to seller support. But there are some instances that you would not be charged the fee. I know new professional sellers for the first year, products that have sold less than 20 units in the past week or the last 7 days. And there's a couple other reasons that you would not qualify for the fee or that you would not be charged the fee. So it might be showing, some metrics or showing that you're going to be charged the fee, but maybe you actually don't, you won't actually be charged the fee if you don't qualify based on a few scenarios that they said that it won't apply to. But I know this is a new fee and there's been a lot of questions and concerns about it. So we just need to keep a close eye on it. But initially they didn't have those exceptions and now they've started to roll out a few exceptions where the fee will not apply. So I can get the link to the Seller Central page about that. So you guys can learn more.
Awesome. And by the way, just on the fee stuff, one interesting anecdote that Prophecy does is that as you're starting to hit the long-term storage fees at Amazon, our software automatically detects that and starts to lower your price to offset the long-term storage fees. And conversely, as you're starting to run short on a product at Amazon's FC, at their distribution center and FBA, our software automatically starts to inch up price to maximize your margin. So really cool. Just want to share that around the fee structure. For the pricing strategies, look, I really believe in a world where you should have different pricing strategies based on your intention for a specific SKU, based on your goal. So it might be that you want to hit a specific target velocity, or you may want to hit a specific BSR, or you want to maximize profit without sacrificing your ranking position on Amazon. And so it's important to have your intention and strategies that you want to implement and goals that you want to set up. So at Prophecy, for example, you can set up your strategy in the UI. It can be a custom strategy. It could be a BSR strategy. It could be a velocity strategy. And then, by the way, we can auto switch those strategies. As you hit a specific strategy, we can automatically move to a different strategy. But the idea is, I know during even in the most recent year, I've seen a lot of, I would put this in air quotes, gurus say, hey, just raise your price 10%. That's not always the optimal decision for a SKU, right? That's actually reckless to some degree of information to share with somebody, because sometimes you increase price on Amazon and it has an adverse effect on your discoverability. Your BSR position, your ranking position for your hero keyword can be impacted. And so the idea is sometimes you want to lower price, but maybe if you lower price, you generate more profit dollars, more contribution profit dollars are added because you're selling more volume. And that volume offsets the lower price. And on top of that, your ranking position improves. So it's a lower ranking position. And then maybe you're owning space organically, page one, top of search, instead of paying and renting that space with ads. So the idea is just to make sure that you're set up for success and picking the strategy that is best suited for the outcome that's optimal that you want to deliver to your business performance. Mia, over to you. How to remain competitive with limited ad budgets during the fourth quarter.
Yeah, so I love that you're talking, about strategy and really doing what's optimal for your business, because that's the same thing. With, remaining competitive is doing what brings you the most profit, using those profits, reinvesting them into your advertising and your marketing strategy can be a really beneficial concept. Just, when you, for again, your ROAS, or you're making X amount on every dollar you spend. So making sure that your profits are there, making sure that you're reinvesting, those profits back into your business to really gain as much as possible. I think the main thing, because it can be really hard when certain brands feel like they have $1 million budgets, they jack up, CPCs. It costs a lot to get those top of search placements. Like Chad said, you have to pay for those because you don't own them. So you're paying more. You're trying to compete against brands with maybe $1 million, advertising budgets, and your business is just not there yet. A few strategies that I have found really successful when working with limited budgets. Long tail keywords and negative keywords should be a huge part of your strategy. So, if you are a shoe brand and, you're selling shoes, the term, women's shoes or just shoes in general, it might be at like $20, $25 cost per click to get top of search. It might just be out of range for you to sustain that. But if you can get really granular and instead of just bidding on women's shoes, you bid on, women's open toe dress shoes, or, just something long tail, multiple words, adding 10 of those long tail keywords might bring in the same revenue for you as adding one, high CPC short tail keyword. So definitely investigating that just so that you can still be seen. Because again, if you pay really high CPCs, you're going to deplete your budgets really quickly. Making sure that you can remain seen, and then also even using negative keywords and negating things that are either out of reach from a cost standpoint that you don't want to bid on because they just cost too much and they're going to deplete your budget too quickly. Negating those, and then negating anything that's wasted spend that's irrelevant to your products is going to be huge. So especially if you're using auto campaigns or broad match campaigns, make sure you have lots of negatives. I will just put out there, never ever do I recommend clients do broad match on their branded terms without a modifier and without negatives. Because again, if your brand name, is something similar to a product, something similar to someone else, Amazon is going to say, oh, it's broadly relevant, and you're going to bring in those other terms. So you need to use negatives, you need to use modifiers to make sure that you're spending on what you want to spend on and not things that are unrelated. I think just making sure that your ads can remain visible, that you're getting those impressions, and that you're not overspending is huge in Q4. Also, I would say lastly, find the gaps. So even large brands that have $1 million budgets, they might not be bidding on every ad type. They might not be bidding on every placement, and some of their campaigns might go out of budget. When you find those gaps and you see an opportunity, maybe you use day parting so that your ads don't start until later in the day. If their budgets are, you see, different ads showing up at 5 p.m. Eastern, it looks like they may be out of budget. Maybe, you use day parting, and that's when your campaigns start. Maybe that's when CPCs are the lowest during the day and you can advertise there. So just finding ways to stretch your ad dollars further is going to allow you to remain competitive against brands that feels like they just have endless amounts of dollars to be spent on advertising.
Great, thank you for sharing. And then Colleen, bring us home, and I want to make sure everyone knows that we have great offers at the end of this, so just stay tuned. We're almost at the end. We're about a minute out, but Colleen, if you want to just take this last question.
Sure. So knowing and understanding when the buy box is suppressed is important so that you can win the buy box more often, fix any issues that are happening, but even more so during the holiday season. A few days or a few hours even of a suppressed listing can mean hundreds or thousands of dollars in lost sales. In fact, on Prime Day, we sent over 10,000 buy box suppression alerts to sellers that their listing was suppressed so they could take action quickly and get back to making sales. So if you're not familiar with buy box suppression, please reach out to me. I'm happy to talk to you about it. I know we're limited on time, but basically if there's a lower offer out there on another platform, then the add to cart or buy now buttons are hidden, and which means consumers can't find and buy your products. It can also be suppressed when the price is too high, no prime offer is available, your seller feedback rating's too low, or if you have promotional activity and then you go back to the regular price, that can cause suppression. Launching a new product, it can take a few days for your buy box to become unsuppressed. So just having that data at your fingertips to know who your competition is, who's winning the buy box when yours is suppressed or when you're losing it, is crucial so that you can figure out if you want to go ahead and compete and change your pricing or things like that. So our Seller Pulse tool can help you monitor that. Yeah, and then listing hijacking also, unfortunately, is a real thing out there. So monitoring your listings regularly is crucial to make sure that you follow the steps to get that hijacker off your listing, sending cease and desist letters, doing test buy, and we offer hijacking support and alerts as well. So again, just feel free to reach out to me, and I'm happy to talk to you more about those.
Awesome. Yeah, data is king at the end of the day, right? More data so you can actually act on it quicker. So wrapping this up, we've got some offers here at the end here. Here's my offer I want to share with those that are tuned in here, listening live. It's a 50% discount for an entire year on Prophecy. Use the code quarter here at the top, and it's available until August 15th. If you have questions around pricing or other things that we talked about today, I'm an open book. You can find me at chad@prophecy.com, or you can find me posting a lot of my musings on LinkedIn and Twitter. It's Chad Rubin. Scan that QR code though if you do want this discount, or you can just email me using just in the subject line quarter, and I'll hook you up. Okay, over to you, Colleen.
Yeah, so this is just a screenshot of our Seller Pulse tool, which is our new data insights tool. We're offering 30-day free trial. Just use the coupon code Prophecy, and you can find us at eComEngine.com. But this is a sample of or an illustration of somebody who lost the buy box, and you can see why they lost it, who their competition is, et cetera. Just a very, very brief overview, but there's a lot of awesome data, a returns report, and other cool things in there. So feel free to reach out to me if you have any interest in learning more.
Awesome. All right, Mia, bring us home.
Yep, so no coupon code here, but definitely scan the QR code to get in touch with Tinuiti. So we are a full service marketing agency. We do e-commerce, search, social, TV, streaming. So if you need help or have any questions, we do pricing based on helping you guys maximize your profit. So definitely reach out to us and we can help with whatever you need.
All right, everybody, it's a wrap. Thank you for spending 1 hour with us of your time. It's precious. We respect it. Now it's time to get back to work. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself, to Mia, to Colleen, and we're happy to support you on your journey. We're rooting for you, and happy selling.
Ciao.
Thank you.